Hello, everybody. Welcome to Donuts to Go. Today, we'll be talking about the last 10 years in gaming. Looking back at our favorites, our least favorites, and all those in between. Today, here to help me, I'd like to introduce the sinker of pong shots, the quick scope champ I know and love, Vivo Karma, also known as Matt Dow.
What's going on, everybody? How's everybody's day going?
I don't have a solo clap, but I'll just put that in there right there. I'll put a SoundCloud in, you know?
Yeah, I gotcha.
You can find Matt streaming Valorant on Twitch, Vivo Karma, and if you want to give him a follow on Twitter, it's the same name, Vivo Karma. And my second guest today is my longtime pain in the ass friend, my forever Resident Evil co-op partner, Vivo Grizzly, also known as Dan Hannon.
How y'all doing today?
I didn't put a clap in there. I'm sorry. I was gonna, but I realized Matt wasn't gonna clap either.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, I brought you guys. I brought you guys here today to talk about the last 10 years game. It's 2020. 2010, I really think that we all kind of took off gaming. I mean, we all had GameCubes back in the day, but like, you think 2010, Black Ops first came out and Red Dead Redemption first came out. I think that was like the prime game time, you know?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah,
I think
I
2010s
agree.
where gaming kicked off. Well, at least that's how I can remember like my big gaming days started like 10 years ago, I would say.
Yeah, like all of us in one room playing Black Ops, like zombies. Like that was like the first instance I can think of.
Yeah.
You know?
How old are we? Jeez.
I feel old.
12.
Think about it like this.
Man.
Black Ops, the first Black
we're
Ops came out in 2010. We were 12 years old.
Yeah,
I was
remember it.
13 years old.
I played it on the Wii, actually, when it first came out.
I remember I had one
Really?
Black Ops on the Wii in school, and everyone made fun of me because I didn't play it on Xbox.
No, yeah, I had Modern Warfare and Black Ops 1 on the Wii, and my mom would let me play it for 30 minutes a day.
The first time I ever played it, I think I was at my cousin's house.
But more importantly, so last 10 years, some of the best games in my opinion. One that just comes to mind off the top of my head that I know, Dan, you love is Red Dead Redemption.
Oh yeah, of course.
That also came out.
I'm a
in
cowboy at heart.
2010.
What?
10 years. That also came out in 2010.
Did it? Really?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
swear
I
to God.
did.
Same with the Red Dead Rising. The Dead Rising 2.
The zombie thing?
Yeah, the Dead
Yeah.
Rising 2 when you're in the I think it's Las Vegas. But I want to get you guys' opinion. Out of the last 10 years, what do you think is the best game that you can think of?
You want to go first, Dan, or you want me to go?
I'll go.
Okay.
You mean like the very best game,
So when I think of
or like just?
so you can say any genre you want. Like I'm sure we'll talk about more than one. But I really think that it comes down to like what your favorite was.
Okay, I was gonna say in our opinion, or like if you actually like looked at all the games like
In your
realistically.
opinion.
Okay.
Because you guys are both pretty good. You know what I'm saying? You're very not I'm gonna say basic, you're very consistent players. You're not like the kind of gamers that only play the classics. You're not, you know what I'm saying? You don't pick up Black Ops once a year or Call of Duty and be like, I beat Call of Duty, I'm done for the year. Like
Yeah.
you guys do them consistently. So I think you're two prime candidates for someone whose opinion actually would matter. You're not going to ask like a 12-year-old what his favorite video game is, and he says Fortnite, and you're like, oh,
Yeah, I'll
obviously
say
it's a great
Fortnite,
game.
yeah.
Like so,
Yeah.
in your opinions, what do you think is the best game?
You can go, Dan. I'll let you go.
See, that's such a hard question.
It really is.
I've had me and Matt spent a lot of our nights playing on Rainbow Six Vegas or Rainbow Six Siege.
Yep.
So I might have to go with that just
Really?
because yeah, honestly, it's just there was a lot of ups and downs playing that game, but I had a lot of great moments.
We did have a lot of good moments on that game.
A lot of intense moments.
Now,
So I think that's going to be my number one.
honestly, like when I think of Rainbow Six, I don't think I remember a time where you guys didn't play Rainbow Six. I also think about a time where like we didn't play Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's always been of what those games are like. We may not play it for a couple months, but we always find our way back to it.
And
Same
like,
thing with Call of Duty.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in my opinion, I think that's what makes a game good. Whether the rest of the world likes it or not, if a game you play it every day, you may take a break, but you always come back to that game. I think that's what makes it a good game.
Yeah, I have to agree with that one. Yeah,
absolutely. And then one of the things that I know that you, Matt, at least you get pretty often is the uh, Madden games. You
Yeah,
know, you've been
but
in the NBA.
the games, it's even with sports games for me. Um, the yearly releases are hard because like I think my personal opinion, this a topic for another day that we could talk about, but I think later down the line, I think yearly releases will become less and less of a thing just because of games like Valorant or like Fortnite, or you could
Yeah,
even
yeah,
throw Call of Duty in the mix where it's like a game that they just keep updating and updating and updating and they do so well. And I also think
Hmm.
a topic for another, you'll see more games become free with like in-game purchases because if you do good with the game, then you'll make all your money from in-game purchases.
absolutely. And I think what we're seeing mostly now in the, I would say from 2015 on is seeing games that you're right. Instead of releasing a new game every year, they do updates with a $20, $10 even paid update, which is like you can play it without the update, but you're not going to have a great of experience. Same with these football and basketball games. You can, or even hockey. I know hockey does the same thing. You can put out a $15 update and then a graphics update for what, unless it's a new console, obviously, or a different console. But like, if you just give the update out and someone's playing on a game that they bought 4 years ago, you're essentially making your money back. You have to be saving money. You know what I'm saying? It can't cost you so that amount of dollars to make a whole new disc and game and do marketing for it when you can just update it.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, obviously none of us are game developers, but I mean, especially with the sports games, it seems like a lot of them are kind of just copy and paste. New people, new players come in every year.
But I think that's what makes it hard is maybe not so much sports games will come out of it just because there's rule changes, more players coming in. But I think I would say within the next 10 years, COD stops with yearly releases, and I think you see like Activision, Treyarch. I don't think Sledgehammer's making games anymore, but I think you see Activision and Treyarch come together and they put out one big COD, and it's just updates, like adding all the maps, everybody's favorite guns, and they maybe put some type of rank system in. I could see that, but I think for sports games, just because of the type of money grab it is, I don't know if they would stray away from yearly releases, but I definitely do think it's possible.
Absolutely. And I 100% agree with you when it comes to them slowing it down because we've seen a decline in games like Madden and 2K
Assassin's
where,
Creed did it and it worked fine. They were doing
yeah,
year releases and then they stopped, and now I think it's like every 2 years. I
yeah,
personally don't enjoy the new Assassin's Creed games like Odyssey and stuff like that, but I can't sit there and say they're bad games. I just personally don't enjoy them.
You know,
and I'm the same way. I can't play an Odyssey. I can't play Assassin's Creed. I did play Odyssey for a quick minute because it was, from what I've heard, a little different than the last
Yeah,
couple of them,
because it's more of like an RPG type
which
game.
I love those kind of games. But at its core, it's still basically the same game.
Yeah.
see, I actually have a different opinion on that, and I've played the two like newest ones, which were Origins and Odyssey, and you know, from someone who actually very much enjoyed uh, the Assassin's Creed series, um, like playing the first one, it's a whole different. It's kind of a different game now, but I think what they did with it, making it more RPG style, I think they did it right in that kind of sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have to say I enjoyed the newer Assassin's Creed.
So are you hoping Valhalla is the same way, like
Uh,
RPG style?
I kind of am. Yeah, I think me. I personally I love Norse mythology and Vikings and all that kind of stuff, and I think there's a lot they can do with it. And I you know I haven't played much of the God of War series, but I think it could kind of turn out to be not not like a
Hmm.
carbon copy, but kind of like
Well, the new God of War is North.
yeah. I think it could they could play off that and kind of make a really good game off it.
Absolutely. And if they do go that route when it comes to like Norse mythology, I think it'll, at the end of the day, it can be a whole, because a lot of people are into that sort of thing now. You have Minecraft that came out with the Norse mythology. You have the God of War, which I know the entire game, right, was Norse mythology.
Yeah.
It's a whole new ball game. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like any of the Assassin's Creed. And I even saw in the Roman times, it was different than the last couple games. You know. But here I'll casually switch subjects because I'm a master of switching subjects that I am. Out of the last 10 years, is there any game that you guys think that you spent money on that you really regret spending the money on?
Yeah. Oh, well, do you mean buying the game and it disappointed me, or like game I just regret spending so much money on?
Let's go with the latter first. Let's go with the game you bought and you regret spending all that money on.
Okay, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but the game I most regret buying is Skyrim.
Oh,
I remember when Skyrim first came out, I was like so excited to get it, and I was like, this is the next big game, which it was. And then I got it and I played it and I just did not like it. And I think it took me until the remaster came out to actually like sit down and like beat the game. And I didn't even like do it. I like just beat it just to say I could beat it. Like I generally like Skyrim is a good game, but I just couldn't fall in love with it like everybody else did.
yeah. It's really like such a large, like, because recently I've just finished beating Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I know that like that's a very like fluffed version of a Skyrim game. But like it was such a huge game. I got it in March. Like I feel like that's the same with Skyrim, where I remember playing it for an hour and a half and I wouldn't have left the first town. Like,
Well, you
which
could do
like
so much in the game.
yeah, there's just so much to do, but at the same time I get so overwhelmed with shit like that like you don't know where to start. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because even doing the main quest, I would get lost and be like, is this really a main quest story? And then I would find myself doing a side mission that has nothing to do with the story. And I'm like, what the hell? I have to go back and figure out where I was.
See, I think Skyrim is one of those games where it kind of depends on your personality. If you're a creative person, Skyrim could be literally the best game in the world. Like, I know maybe not so much the storyline, but there's so much to do in Skyrim, and there's so many like enemies and NPCs, and so much little detail that I think if you have a creative mindset and you like the sense of adventure like myself, you can easily get lost in that game. And like you said, like even I was lost in the first town because I was just exploring. I was going around, I was looking for things to kill, I was looking for new armor, new swords, new weapons, all this stuff. So I think it really depends on your kind of personality, but I also, I see how you cannot like the game.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I didn't like it. I don't know how to explain it. Like there were
You
parts of the
regret
game that
spending
were
so
really
much on
fun.
it?
Like I think as a kid I got excited for it, and it's like one of those things where like I spent like the last $60 to get that game, and I played it for like 2 hours, and I was like, I'm over it.
Yeah, yeah. Which
Can you
that's
100%
what it really
Skyrim?
comes down to. Like, if I'll buy a $60 game, but I want to know I'm playing that shit for a while.
Yeah.
I think you can technically 100% Skyrim. I don't know if anybody has done it.
I'm about to look right now.
But I know that, like, for me at least, the biggest waste of money had to be, I'm gonna say, Battlefield 2 or Battlefront 2,
The
the
new
Star
one?
Wars, yeah, like Star Wars Battlefront 2. That to me, because I had that shit
I would say the
$60.
first one was more of a waste of money than
Yeah.
the second one.
Honestly, when the first one came out, and I loved it. It was a great game.
I enjoy the second one more, I think.
But when the second one first came out, the fucking story, an extra $30 halfway through the story, like it wasn't even like Destiny 2 where like you complete the whole story and then there's extra shit. It was literally like you would stopped at some point and they said to you, "Oh, well, you need to buy the rest of the game if you want to see the rest of the story."
That's true.
Like they did you dirty like that. Obviously EA, after getting backlash for
Oh yeah, they love their what's it called?
They love their fucking downloadable content.
Microtransactions and stuff like
Yeah, their
that.
microtransaction bullshit. They did that shit, man, and then they basically wanted you to spend $90 on a game that you paid $60 for. Like, it was definitely unexpected.
But I think as a game, I think Battlefront 2 is better than 1. 1 was a flop in my opinion.
I think now it's a better game, like with everything fixed.
Well, they don't support the game anymore.
Yeah.
So, well,
Yeah,
I shouldn't say they don't support it. There's going to be no more updates.
No more updates, no more backing, no more DLC. Like, they're done.
See, I agree that I think the first one was definitely more of a disappointment to me. I think it was actually such a disappointment. I didn't even bother getting the second one. Like, not like I came into it with an unbiased opinion. Well, kind of. I didn't like the first one, and I was like, well, the second one's probably not going to be any different if they're going to continue down this route. But I have to say, buying it with the completed version of the second one, I think it was a lot of fun, and I think I got it on sale, so I'd say it was worth my money. I don't know if I'd pay full price for it.
And the story in Battlefront 2 wasn't even that memorable.
No, it wasn't. I couldn't even tell you the main character's name because I don't remember what her name was.
I remember you were on the what's it called, and then I couldn't tell you what happened. I couldn't.
Yeah. It was really like, and we're not talking like The Force Awakens where everyone remembers.
Those are good games. Those are good. Those are good games.
If they came out with another Force Awakens now, it would be just as popular as Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, but the question is, would they do it right?
That's true because EA still owns. It was EA, right?
Yeah.
Was it that did?
I can't remember. I'm about to look it up right now.
It was LucasArts, which was I.
Oh, they got bought out by EA or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, they got bought out.
But the new Star Wars game, you guys like that one? Did you try that one out?
I think that was a great game.
That game is very what's it called?
Dark Soulsy?
Yeah, it's that. So like if like I generally the Dark Soul games in my opinion are great games. Like I think they're games that people love to try, but I can't stand games like that. Like I've never actually sat there and played a Dark Souls because I know I would not last 20 minutes into the game without breaking something.
Yeah, I'm the same way, and Dan knows that. I can't play a Dark Souls game because I'll get to the first boss and I'm just like, I don't want to have to like constantly die to find out how to beat this guy. But I'll be honest, the oh god, what was it called? Fuck.
The
first order, no.
Yeah. No, was it? Damn.
What was it called?
What was it called?
We're hyping this game up and we don't even know the name of it.
I fucking forgot what it's called.
Hold on, I can tell you in a second.
Was it The Last Order? No.
The Fallen Order. Fallen Order. Yeah.
Yeah, the Fallen Order. I honestly I thought it was a great game, and I think because of the Star Wars-ness of it, I was able to. I don't want to say withstand, but I was able to tolerate the whole dying over and over again.
Yeah, I think that's how it was for a lot of people, because I think there's a lot of people that would sit there and be like, yeah, I can't play Dark Souls, but they would play this just because it's Star Wars. Which is why generally Star Wars could put out games like that and people buy it, be like, oh, I love Star Wars, I'll buy the game, and then it might turn out trash. But I'm excited for the Dogfight Star Wars game coming out.
Yeah, so am I. Honestly, it's giving off definitely old PS2 vibes of flying around in the old ships and just killing each other.
Yeah. The ship battles in Battlefront they're okay, but the fact that you fight more AI than actual human controlled people is kind of annoying. So I'm excited for a full human versus, well, not human versus human, you know what I mean? A game where you're in a dogfight.
Something that someone brought up, which I thought was a really good point, was because I guess the demo for the new dogfight one was out, or it's out now.
Oh, it is?
They showed that the difference between the Battlefront and this one is the ships in this one actually you learn how to control the ship rather than just bam, you're in the ship, go 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 go. so you're not constantly like, oh shit, I'm flying around, like I can't control myself, like because that was me. Like immediately as getting a ship in Battlefront 2, I was immediately like, oh fuck, and then I crashed myself, like.
Yeah, it was a little hard to control.
But these ones, I guess it's kind of like a flight simulator thing where they like teach you how to fly.
That's kind of cool. That might be a little
And
hard
then
though.
but then they put you into the fighting thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like that as detailed as a flight simulator, but it's more directed towards actual flying around and fighting. Like if you're a good pilot, you should be really good at this game.
Yeah. I don't know if I've played any like airplane games like that.
I want to go back to the Fallen Order for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because, I know it did get a lot of comparisons to Dark Souls.
But it was easier than Dark Souls, right? Like, as a whole.
Oh, it was.
Actually, someone who's played all the Dark Souls, most of them multiple times, and I love Dark Souls. I love the difficulty of it. I just love everything about it. But I have to say, I think Fallen Order, in my opinion, was harder than Dark Souls. And
Did you play it on all the difficulties, or did you go straight to the hardest one?
No, I did. I played on multiple difficulties. I tried. At first I was like, okay, if it's Dark Souls hard, and I'm good at Dark Souls, I should be able to play on like the second hardest difficulty. And that wasn't happening. So I moved down to normal, and even that was just like, what the hell, dude? Like I'm just getting absolutely destroyed, and it's making this game not so fun. And even on the easiest difficulty, there was times where I still kind of struggled, and it was like, holy shit! Like this game really kicked my ass.
It really showed you, like, in my opinion, it was because I've tried Dark Souls for probably a total of a half hour in my life.
I've never played a Dark Souls game. The only game like that I've played is Lords of the Fallen, and I couldn't beat the first boss, so I deleted it.
I got to the first boss of Dark Souls, and I was like, you know what? I'm done. Fuck it. I'm done. I'm not doing it. I did play the Charlon Chronicles, which was a 2-bit game that came out on the Xbox One. That was free. It was one of those free games of the month. I beat the shit out of that game. I love that game. It was one of those games. But Fallen Order for me was, I played on normal, and it was my first game in a long time that I literally, no one told you anything. They gave you like 6 planets to go to right off the bat. You can go to every planet right off the bat, but you're gonna struggle like hell.
Yeah,
like if you don't go in the right order, you're gonna struggle so hard. I went because of course I went to the desert planet, which is like one of the last ones you go to. I went to that shit. I powerhouse through, got all the way to the end until the guy was like, "Oh yeah, you can't climb up some vines because you're like a Jedi, and Jedi don't know how to climb vines." And I'm like, really? Come on, man. Like, but it was definitely like one of the games that I would put it on my top 10 of games that I liked of the last 10 years, honestly.
I would as well, I think.
You know what's a sleeper game I would put on my top 10? Oxenfree.
Oxenfree.
A great game.
Absolutely.
I think games like that are slept on by a lot of people. I think people find them boring, but I think they don't dive deep enough into the game. And also people stray away from side scrollers nowadays because they like the aspect of like 3D and stuff like that. But like if you like really dive into Oxenfree, it was like a generally like amazing game.
Absolutely 100%.
That game caught me off guard like nothing else because it's it's an indie game, and we all know indie games don't get hyped up like these mainstream games.
Nope, not at all.
And so going into it, I really, I didn't know what to expect, but I wasn't expecting all that much. Playing through that game, the atmosphere of it was freaking beautiful. The story.
Now, let me make sure we're talking about the same one. That's the one where you like play the boy and his sister or stepsister, right?
You play as a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they go to the beach and like some shit happens.
Yeah.
Okay. That game kind of took me off. Like it took me by surprise because there's a scene where they're in like the spoiler alert. The game's been out for years. If you haven't played it by now, like
it came out in 2016.
Yeah. There's a scene where they're in like the abandoned part, and the girl, which is the ghost, it's not actually the girl, it falls off the building and like kills herself.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's when I was like, oh fuck.
Because it was like I don't know if it was random, but it definitely I don't think everybody expected her like to do that.
No, yeah, and immediately like because they give you a task which you're supposed to fail it, like you're not gonna complete the task.
Oh yeah, yep, okay, yep, I remember that part.
And
now.
like I'm over here like, did I just like get the bad ending? And like you get to the end of the game and I was like, did I get the bad ending? Like
Was there multiple endings? I don't remember.
no, there wasn't. Like the ending just kind of like gave you a bad taste in your mouth. But you kept going back for more, like a bad relationship. You were like, oh my god, I fucking hated it. Give me more. like
One of the
Like-
things I liked most about that game is like, it, like playing it first off, like it didn't seem like it was.
No, there was multiple endings.
was there?
It was so it says in an epilogue, Alex reveals the fate of the characters with known as pictures of the group, shown in the outcome dependent on actions made during the game. Clarissa's friendship with Alex and Michael can either be preserved or destroyed. Clarissa can also be sacrificed to the rift. No one remembering Clarissa except Alex herself. If she is saved, she will either drop out of school or continue her studies. Ren will either date or not date Nona, depending on Alex's actions. Nona goes to a ballet school and may or may not be in a long distance relationship with Ren. Jonah's relationship with Alex can be preserved or destroyed. Michael can be revived if Alex encouraged him not to move away in the time loop. If so, Jonas and Alex will cease to be step siblings. The player's actions can either destroy or preserve Michael's relationship with Clarissa.
Jesus.
I don't think it changed. Well, I guess, yeah.
I always get the ending where they're like they show pictures of each other at the end of the trip.
I don't
And I
remember
was
my
like-
ending.
There was just so much shit I didn't know, and like I'd go back and try to do the same thing, and like I'd get the same ending, and I was like, okay.
I think that's the one I got as well.
But so out of the last 10 years, are there any games that you just straight up didn't like? Like we're not talking like Fortnite, because we all used to play Fortnite. We're talking like I just totally I blew up your guys' spot. I hope all your followers know that you played Fortnite at one point.
Well, that's one of my biggest regrets of money too, because I probably spent like when Fortnite was in its prime and enjoyable. Okay.
Do you know I bought Fortnite?
Oh yeah, you played the what's it called? To Save the World, right?
I played Into the Storm because at the time there was no like
Yeah, and it came out after.
Yeah, I bought Fortnite when it was just Into the Storm, and I loved that. I liked Into the Storm.
I think I played like an hour to get like free V-Bucks or something.
Yeah,
or some
yeah.
stupid thing like that.
When the original when the competitive came out, I had enough for the first and second battle pass.
So for me, Fortnite, when it first came out, Fortnite to me was terrible. Like like the game did. Like I used to play with Caleb, who's one of our friends. And it was like bad. Like the game was bad, and I stopped playing it for like a whole. And like as I stopped playing it, like the updates came out, and I think towards the end of season 1 is when I really picked it up, and then I played it till about like season 5 or 6, and now the game is just back to being terrible in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I agree.
But like a game that I like hate, other than like Fortnite and like COD in the last like 7 years, I don't know if like one particularly comes to mind, just because how like multiplayer sided I am as a gamer.
Yeah. I would have to go if I had to choose a game that like immediately disappointed me, like right off the bat, it'd be Fallout 76.
Fallout 76. I haven't played it, but that game definitely,
Yeah, I've heard nothing but
there's a reason.
bad things.
I spent a whole $60 on that game because the thought of it was like it was basically a cooperative Fallout game. That's what they put it off as. They put it off as like a Fallout game with a Fallout story. You just have a partner.
But
That wasn't
the whole concept of like people being in your world kind of threw me off.
but that's like when they put out the trailers and stuff for it, there was no like building a fort. Or there was building a fort, but there was no like if you're not with me, you're against me. There was none of that. We all thought it would be like co-op, like because they introduced building stuff in the 4th game, which the Fallout 4 is definitely on my top 10 of
I don't know.
last 10 years. For me at least.
I definitely like 3 more, and Las Vegas or New Vegas.
Those are both great games too, but 4 to me, like it had all around good shit all around. There was basically in 76, the marketing for it was so bad, and what they put it off as was a regular Fallout story game just with co-op.
Yeah.
They didn't put it off as a competitive online multiplayer game that's open world, which Fallout games are open world.
Yeah.
I didn't mean like that. I meant like you like in a Fallout game, usually they'll be like, "Hey, go to Diamond City, and then go to there, and then to there, and then to there,"
Mm-hmm.
and you slowly but surely explore the world. Fallout 76 is like, no, you know what? Go to the end of the map. Okay, I'm waiting for you there. You get there, bitch isn't there. Then she's like, oh, I'm on the other side of the map. Go to the fucking other side of the map. Like, that's just, it was the most like unconstructive way to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It was such a big letdown for me. And then Bethesda, because it was a huge thing. Do you know they put out merch? Like, you know, like there's like a pre-order merch that sometimes they put out with
Yeah, like how you pre-ordered 3 or 4. You got the what's it called?
the Pip-Boy.
Yeah, the Pip-Boy.
So for this one, they put out this nice leather bag with a poster and a calendar and all this other stuff. You know what they gave people?
Bunch of
A
nothing.
plastic bag with the logo on it that looked like the picture, but it was plastic.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of giving everyone a refund, they gave them a refund, but with in-game credits.
Wow.
For in-game credits, it didn't buy you anything, but it didn't buy you like loot. So like, you know how like in Fortnite you can buy like skins for yourself?
Yeah.
That's basically what they gave them. They basically gave them paint for a suit of armor, not a suit of armor, paint, because you have to still make the suit of armor.
That's fucking grimy.
Or they gave you not even materials; they gave you colors for the materials. Like they wouldn't give you anything useful. They'd give you poses. You can get poses for like 5,000 credits, which was the whole like $60.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
And it was a huge thing, and there was a whole lawsuit about it too.
I'm not. Yeah, but no one's ever gonna win that lawsuit.
No, that lawsuit's going to be going on for years. In 20 years from now, they're going to be like, oh, Bethesda finally gave everyone refunds.
Yeah, I doubt it. Like companies like Bethesda and Rockstar will never ever give refunds on microtransactions.
Is GTA on your list
For
of top games?
I'm gonna say no. I wouldn't put it in my top 10. I also would put GTA 4 above GTA 5.
That's understandable.
I agree.
GTA 5, the story, I like the story more in GTA 4, and of course GTA 5 has the better multiplayer, but to me GTA now is just a money grab.
Yeah, 100%. Especially where it is right now.
Like to go on a new console announcement and just announce GTA 4 is coming to console and you'll get it for free and stuff like that. It's just like that's just bullshit. Like
We're not the
you
game
never
that's
wants GTA 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And rumors are it's not even in development yet or even being worked on. So who God knows when we'll get it, if ever.
And like it was one of those things that like they rumored like the year after GTA 5 came out and like never talked about it for years. And then I think it's only been like a half a year or a year, less than a year since we've gotten more GTA 6 shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there was stuff a couple months ago, but it was all just rumors.
Yeah, nothing like solid has ever been put out for it. Like, which is like the big thing because there's still a lot of shit in 5 that they haven't done. Like, there's still like the whole Mount Chiliad bullshit, but like they just skipped over
the
that.
aliens.
Yeah, and they're just like, oh, jetpacks.
Yeah, they just throw whatever the hell they want there.
So
Fucking like,
I'm gonna talk about my most hated game.
go ahead.
So I have, there's a lot of games that really disappointed me, but I have to go personally with Halo 4.
Halo 4.
As someone who grew up playing Halo, Halo was my everything for a very long time. I was very good at it. It was just, it was my bread and butter. It was, I'd hop on Halo, and I personally am one of the people who really enjoyed the story to the Halo games, and it wasn't when I bought Halo, it wasn't because I wanted to play the multiplayer. I wanted to play the freaking campaign, right?
Yeah.
And so Halo always came out around my birthday, and Halo 4 had the nerve to come out on my birthday. And I was so excited. I took the day off from school. I was like, new Halo game.
That was me on COD releases.
So pumped. I played that. I beat the campaign, and I was like, why? Why did I waste my money? What was this game? Why did they do this? Why did they
What
do
was
this?
the point?
You know, it really bothered me, and it sucked because I think they could have gone about the story differently, and they somehow managed to save the ending a bit with Halo 5. The next game in the series. Why does it take the next game in the series to save the previous game? That's
I don't know. Ask COD that question.
yeah. COD has the same problem. A lot of people didn't like Halo 5. I, for one, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed
It was like the only Halo I've actually like sat down and played, and I enjoyed it.
you know,
Well, I played a little bit of Reach, which is probably a
Yeah,
lot of people's favorite.
Reach is a great game. Halo 5, yeah, I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the multiplayer experience. I think
So, what are you looking forward to in the new one? Like, what do you want from it?
I think what I want from Halo Infinite is kind of what they did in Halo 5. I want that nice multiplayer experience where it's not just running around killing people. You have the option to go into a game mode like what did they call it, like Warzone or whatever it was called, and where
Would you like to see a BR?
um I wouldn't mind it. I personally I kind of enjoy BRs. Um, I don't want that to be the center of the game. I want them to focus on the story because Halo has, in my opinion, has one of the best stories in
Yeah,
FPS.
I'd have to agree with that.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think the newer Halos are a little too much focused on the multiplayer experience, which that is a big part of it. I think at first they need to nail the campaign down, right, and then go on the multiplayer experience because you can always update the multiplayer experience. You could always add new game modes, new things to do, new armor to buy, new weapons, all that stuff. You can always add that. You can't really add, campaign experience.
I see what you're saying, but I don't think that is really going to happen.
I don't think
And
it's going to happen.
I say that because a lot of the reason people play games like that is for the multiplayer. Like that's the reason COD dropped their campaign.
Mhm.
And I don't. The campaign in this game wasn't very memorable for me. It was like nostalgic, I guess.
Mhm.
But like the reason people play COD is for the multiplayer. The reason people play Fortnite and all that is for the multiplayer. So I think you'll get a good Halo story, but I think the main focus definitely will be the multiplayer. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too disappointed if the. But is this going to be the last Halo? Do you think it will be?
Here's hoping.
It might be. Honestly, it kind of depends on the series, like the campaign.
That's true.
A lot of people don't realize it. Yeah, like uh, whoever runs it now, I think it's fucking the same. No, what is it?
It's not 5
It's
or
not.
whatever, right?
It's not 303. I don't. Whatever the creators, they still have to make a money off their games.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the reason the games did so.
No, it is 343.
Is it?
Yeah, 343 in Skybox.
Okay, that's what I thought. The campaign is kind of why they continue it because there's such a developed story that they don't cut it off. They don't ever just like this is it. This is what happens, and we're done. Halo 5 left off in a cliffhanger. You have to make another game. You can't just leave a game like that on a cliffhanger. You built this in-depth story, this incredible, there's so much lore behind the Halo series, all this stuff. You can't just cut it off on a cliffhanger. So I think if they end the story well, I think this will be the last one. Will they probably make spin-off games more focused, like solely focused on the multiplayer? Probably, but I think what they should do after Infinite is go back to a game like Reach, where it's a spin-off story. It still has stuff to do with the Halo universe, but they ended the story right there. You know
Yeah.
what happens to them. They all die. That's it. They all die. If you want to kill
It's
everybody,
like, oh,
if you want to kill
It's true. They all did die. It was a very sad ending, but
it was sad. But I'm saying,
because the end of the game is you just fight hordes until you die, right?
yeah,
Yeah, like that.
you can.
But to me,
There's
that's like
not
a
like a
shitty
limit.
way in the game. Because what if you just, you like if they like there's like a point where you just die, right?
yeah.
But like, what if it was a thing where like you literally just keep going until you just die? Like it's just like you could literally play the end of the game for like 4 hours. Like I feel like that would be like I feel like that'd be kind of funny, but like people would be like, "What the fuck?"
I feel like the people that were really hardcore would do it. They'd see how
Oh
long.
yeah,
There'd be
there would be
challenges.
challenges. Yeah, of course there would.
Yeah, there would be
I
challenges to see how far.
and I would be one of those people. I kid you not. I would sit there for as long as it takes to try to outlast it. But the thing they did right in Halo Reach, which is what they should do after Infinite, if they don't end off the series but want to keep the company making money and all this and that, is make a spin-off game. You kill everyone off. You don't have to worry about no open-ended books.
Yeah.
It's just that. So that's my outlook on it.
I will say if they end the series without revealing Master Chief, people will riot.
Oh
I
yeah,
think so too, but
I think they're gonna be dickheads and not reveal who he is. I think they're gonna keep that like one of those just like forever secrets.
I don't.
But
In my opinion, I almost kind of don't want them to do it, because at the end of almost every game that I can remember, they fuck with you. He takes off his helmet. You're like, am I gonna see his face? Am I gonna see his face? Nope. So, if they do it, I won't be mad. But if they don't do it, I also really won't be mad.
yeah.
can you imagine they pull a Samus on you and like it takes Master Chief takes his helmet off and it's a girl?
There's no way.
No, I don't think so because
His name is John.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
they've like hinted to his name before.
and even with like the females in the game, you could distinctly tell they have female voices.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think he has like a voice change or anything in his helmet.
Now, let me ask you this: how do you guys feel about the theory that it's not the same guy every time? He's programmed with the memories of the last game.
That I don't know if that correlates to the story. I could be wrong, but because of like Cortana and stuff.
See,
So what I've been because I'm not a big I've played most of them. I've dabbled in little by little, but one of the theories that I've heard from long time ago was that it's not the Master Chief is not one. Well, at one point was a guy, and that guy at one point died, so they made another Master Chief and then just programmed all his memories in there.
I think that's an interesting theory.
But don't the games generally like end and then like pick back up generally where they left off?
Yeah, a lot of them.
So like that's why that theory doesn't really make sense. Unless you
Yeah.
mean like years and years before it was like a Master Chief and like the games pick up with like the quote unquote new Master Chief.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
Like,
what
because I know that there's supposed to be like times where people that are extremely older, like, oh shit, you're the Master Chief, and Master Chief's like, I've never met you.
So, in my opinion, I think they would have had to do that after like the first game, because
Yeah,
everything after that just picks up right where it left off. It's like it's a continuation. So there's not really much breathing room to be like, oh yeah, there's this is a new guy, this is a new Master Chief.
yeah, 100%. And so I'm gonna. So we talked about the biggest disappointments. We talked about your favorites. How about the biggest surprise when it came to games? This could be a game that you didn't think you'd pick up, but you picked it up and you loved it, like something like that, or a game that came for free that you ended up playing more than you thought. Is there any games that comes as a surprise to you guys? How well it did?
Sleeping Dogs.
Sleeping Dogs.
I think it was one of those games that everybody like if you played single player games, you played it and you enjoyed it. But like I never played it because it never really interested me. And then I started game sharing with Jose, and he recommended I play it, and I 100% of the game. I put well, okay, I 100% the game, but my achievements didn't count because my game glitched. But I 100% of the game. So for me, that would be like my biggest like. I picked it up and I was like, yeah, I'll try it, and it turned out to be like one of my favorite games.
Yeah.
For me, so this is kind of weird. Until Dawn,
Until Dawn, that's a good one.
I haven't played it personally.
Oh, that's the what's it called, right?
Yeah, that's
the choice game.
Yeah, I haven't played it personally, so I can't speak from like direct experience. But I've watched multiple people play through the entire game, and it really came to a shock. Like, it really surprised me because I have to say, horror games, a lot of them aren't done that well. I'm gonna be honest. As a major horror fan, I think this game did horror right. There's all different kinds of horror. There's shoot 'em up like Resident Evil. There's psychological horror, which this game, as far
does
as
very well. It did it very well.
It did it very well, and I think that's the scariest kind of horror. And so
I agree. Yeah,
because when you're playing a game and it's a horror game and you have a gun, there's something about it that you just
something's gonna pop up because you have a gun.
And there's always in the back of your mind, I got a gun. I'm not all that worried. In this game, these kids were starting to panic because weird stuff was happening, and that just kind of fucks with your head. And I think
it's also like the misdirection of like the old classic horror movies where you're like, oh, the killer's totally this one guy, but then like it turns out to be a different guy. Like the whole time you're watching the game, you're thinking that like there's actually, well, there is, but like you're thinking that there's a killer hunting you all down when it's actually just one of your psychopathic friends.
Yeah.
And then it turns out to be actual fucking ghouls trying to kill you all.
Yeah. Like, and everyone,
I'm sorry.
But there's like an actual monster out there. Like it was a total like mind. Then you have that one guy that after every chapter is interviewing you, and you're like, where does this go? And like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But those games are done very well. Like Until Dawn, Beyond Two Souls, Detroit Gone Human. Beyond Two Souls is my personal favorite out of them all.
That's a great one. I think that's also my personal favorite because I think that game was the last game that really like it was probably the first game in a long time that made me like feel emotional for something in a video game.
To me, it was like there was like the beginning where you're like just you're just her and you're dealing with your like I don't know what they called it in the game, and then suddenly you're like saving the human race or whatever. Like it like took like such a fast turn pretty quick, but it was like really well done.
And then lastly, what is there any games coming up, or let me rephrase this, in the next couple years, in the next 10 years, what would you guys like to see out of gaming? If you had to say one solid thing that you want to see come out in the next 10 years, what would it be?
A decent COD. No,
not even a good COD, just a decent.
No, yeah, a decent COD. Like I need like an Infinite Warfare story, but like a Black Ops 2 multiplayer. You know,
I thought you were gonna say an Infinite Warfare game. I was like,
oh no. If someone can sit here and tell me that Infinite Warfare had a campaign or a bad campaign, you have no heart. No, that campaign tore me to shreds.
That campaign was nuts. And
same thing with the Titanfall 2 campaign, but it wasn't as sad.
I agree. That ending though, perfect.
But on a serious note, I think I like the direction they're taking with the next gen consoles, or even now how they're like going back to older games that everybody loved, and they're making more. Like they're making a new Ratchet and Clank, they're like making a new Crash Bandicoot. So I think like as like an older generation, I think you try to as an older generation, it's like you're always trying new games and trying hard to find something that suits your like style of gameplay. But with like them recreating games from our past, remastering them, or even continuing the story, it's like easy to be like, oh, I want to play that, or oh, I want to play that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it goes back to like when you're older and you have kids, what are you going to have them play? Fortnite? Or are you going to show them Spyro the Dragon? Like,
Yeah, I'm not letting my child play Fortnite if it's still a thing.
Nah, yeah.
oh God,
My kid
please let
has
it
no
not
touch
be a
on
thing.
Fortnite.
Yeah, I think kids nowadays like they have it easy. I think if when you start video games, I really think you should play like single player games because I think if you dive headfirst in the multiplayer games, you lose like the single player experience and the love for it.
Mhm.
But even like I've lost my love for single player games. Like it's very hard for me to pick up a single player game and beat it just because like I want to go like grind my rank in Valorant or like I want to go frag out on COD or something.
Yeah.
So like when that single player game comes out, that it's like okay, I really want to sit down and beat this. You know, that's what I look forward to in the future.
Which I know how different me and you are when it comes to gaming. Like, I live for single player games. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Last of Us, Breath, like Legend of Zelda, like games like that. Like, I strive with games like that because the story game is 100 times better to me than a multiplayer game. Of course, like I love playing games like Overwatch. I'll always love Overwatch. But if they came out with a single player Overwatch game, I would fuck that game up.
I
I
don't.
would pay the extra $60 for a whole new game if Overwatch came out with a single player
I
campaign.
feel like that game would flop.
Yeah.
I would. You know
I
what?
feel like making a single player game out of a game that's only like multiplayer is just like a money grab.
I don't know how they would do it exactly, but I know for a fact that
It would probably just be about like the beginning of like the war or whatever, and then you go into like, or they could just do about like a new Overwatch or whatever.
Yep. Or them like because I know towards the end of like all the campaign and stuff, or towards the end of all the multiplayer stories and stuff, that it's supposed to be like Overwatch is coming back together and like
Yeah,
getting like which they just fizzled out. I don't even want to talk about them, but
I guess we'll see an Overwatch too.
yeah, whenever that comes out. What about you, Dan? What do you want to see in the next 10 years?
So for me personally, I'm like equally both of you. I love single player games. I love multiplayer games. I'm a competitive person. I like playing with my friends. I like to win. So multiplayer games do that for me. But on the other end of that, I like story. I like adventuring. I like feeling things when I play a game, not just playing it, just to play it. So I want to see a little more. There's two things I want to see. I want to see more uh, detail in games, more games, kind of like Skyrim, where you have the freedom to kind of choose how the game goes. You can spend the entire game doing nothing, or you can spend the entire game just running around, or you could spend the
Yeah.
entire game just doing the story. I think that's what makes games good, and I think a lot of recent games have kind of gotten sloppy with that. They kind of miss the detail, the what draws people into single player games.
I can agree with that.
They
Absolutely, 100.
they
percent
do things that they like they want. They do things for the money. And I think they need to pay attention to the fans of some of these games. And collectively, all game developers, I think they need to listen more to their community. I think they should, take into consideration what people want instead of just doing what they want because they're going to make money off it.
The thing with that is though, someone will always be unhappy.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And
But I think that what it comes down to at the end of the day, because we've seen as a collective, we've seen the power that we have over a gaming company.
Yeah,
Like when Battlefront 2 came out, there were fucking riots at EA's door that they wanted fucking their money back, or they wanted the DLC for free, or even Destiny 2. Charging $60 for another hour of gameplay. Come on, like it was a great gameplay, but I didn't buy it for $60. I got it for free. Like it was, it's something that as a collective, as gamers, we need to stop saying, "Oh, it's fine. Like it's only $60." We need to stop doing that.
yeah.
Don't buy a game because you think that everyone else is going to play it. Buy a game that you actually enjoy. I'll be honest. I spent $60 and I bought a $10 DLC for Breath of the Wild, like the new Legend of Zelda. I thought it was the best game I've played in the last year or two. Honestly,
and
like
I think Breath of the Wild is a perfect example of what I want.
And you know what? It was a mix of like the DLC. There was nothing wasted with the DLC. You paid for $15 DLC. You got exactly what you paid for. You got fucking extra temples. You got extra upgrades. You got extra loot. You got a fucking motorcycle. It's a unicorn. Like,
I feel like Nintendo's better at that stuff than.
and Nintendo listens to their fans. They say, you know what? We want little hidden secrets and gems
they,
and shit.
they don't listen. They didn't put Waluigi in Smash, so.
Oh, listen, the next characters, Matt. I'm telling you, Waluigi's going to be added.
Oh, I think they said they're not putting him in the game.
I know.
He's a what's it called? An item or whatever.
Yeah, but what's it called? They said the same thing about oh god, what was his name? Fucking Lucario. Lucario was a summon for a while, and they took the summon out and they put Lucario in the game.
Yeah, but Lucario's like that dude, you know?
Well, Lucario has also been in there for like 3-4 games now.
But they said every character that's been in a Smash is going to be a playable character in the Smash. At least I'm pretty sure that's what they said.
If they add the new system that they want, you're going to be able to make your own character, which is awesome. Not just the Wii character, but like download your own like 3-dimensional model.
I think that'd
be
pretty cool.
That'd be the day where I can get Shrek and Mr. Krabs to fight it out with each other.
I think that's a little broken, unless they have like set moves you could pick from.
Yeah. I think that would be a good thing to do. Like they set moves so you can't just make like the most broken character.
Yeah, like Fox movement with like Ganondorf strength or some shit like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like there has to be like you can't make the Hulk with like as fast as Sonic. You have to like he's gonna be a little slow.
Yeah, like
you did with the
like
WWE.
An archetype. Like you pick like a brawler, you pick like a strat. I don't know. I don't really know. Like you would classify Smash characters, but
I agree.
But as always, thank you guys for joining me. We always close this off with a little bit of trivia from gaming. Little do people know that
trivia.
In the last
I wasn't ready for this.
I know. Listen. You listen. This is how we do things here, man. You're gonna come on the podcast a couple times. You gotta be. You know what? Next time, Matt, you can read the fact. Okay.
Oh, is it fact or trivia?
Well, it's a fact.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought it was trivia.
Day, okay? It's a trivia of the day. Okay. So. In The Last of Us 2, Ellie moves a total of 94 dumpsters over the course of the game, which is a subtle nod to the fact that game is fucking trash. All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you guys enjoy. We'll see you on the next one. Also, just check out my boys. We got Vivo Grizzly, Vivo Karma. Check them both out on Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. They got it all. Thank you guys for hosting. Thank you guys for coming, and I'll see you all on the next one.
Take it easy.
Have a good one.
Have a good one, everybody.